Hello, my name is David Barry. Welcome to this module on monitoring application performance in Oracle. One of the capabilities we want to have is the ability to monitor and troubleshoot applications as they run in real time. There are a variety of reasons for this. One reason is that once we deploy our application to production, we want to get some data on how it is performing and if it is performing up to our expectations. No matter how much we test and tune our application before we go live, sometimes things can be a little bit different in production. So we want to be proactive in monitoring the health of our application and use any data we find to drive further performance improvements. Similarly, we might be taking over the support of an existing application, and we need to know if there are any performance bottlenecks and indeed what the application is doing and how it is interacting with the database. Having the ability to look inside Oracle and get some of this information so you can correlate it with what you find in the application code is extremely useful. Another reason why it is important to be able to monitor an application's performance is that at some point you're probably going to have some sort of performance event that you have to deal with. Now this may be an event where the application is running very slowly, users are receiving timeouts, and the application is unusable. In these cases, you need to quickly diagnose what is happening in the application, whether that's a surge of users, a slow running query, or some issue completely unrelated to the database. But you want to be able to look inside of Oracle and tell what's going on, so you know that if this is a database issue, you should investigate further or look somewhere else. Finally, some of the queries in this section can help you as you capture data from load and performance tests that you might run. This is useful because you can capture some data on how your application is running as a whole rather than just individual statements, and find the SQL statements that are taking up the most resources while you're still in a test environment so that you can get these statements tuned appropriately. Fortunately, Oracle makes available a wealth of data to us about what is happening inside of the database. This data can help guide our efforts to know what is a problem and what isn't. The primary source for data that we will talk about during this module are the dynamic performance views, sometimes also referred to as the $$ views. Whenever a user logs into Oracle or a SQL statement is run, Oracle is taking data about this event and exposes that data to us via the dynamic performance views. There is nothing that you have to do to turn this on. There's no script to run. All of this data is automatically collected in the background for you by Oracle. Now, one thing that you do need to be aware of is that these views generally represent a point-in-time snapshot of what is happening within Oracle. So they're going to list the sessions that are logged into Oracle right now, or the contents of the shared SQL area right at this moment. They generally don't provide historical information or trending type data. Still though, they are extremely useful as they give us insight into what's happening inside of our Oracle database. The other set of views to be aware of are the data dictionary views. Now these are not performance views per se, but they contain information about all of the database objects within Oracle, so things like tables, columns, indexes, and views. Many times you'll want to join these tables with the dynamic performance views to get a more useful view of what's happening. Other times you may just want to query these views on their own. Now these views come in 3 flavors, but they are all essentially the same. The 3 flavors reflect what data the view will return. All of the views that start with a DBA_ will show data for all objects in the database. By default, you may not have access to this set of data dictionary views. The other 2 sets, though, you will. The views that start with all_ will show data for all of the objects that the currently logged in user has access to. So for example, all_tables would show all of the tables that the current user has permissions to. The user_ views only contain data for the objects that the currently logged in user owns. In this case, user_tables would just list the tables owned by the current logged in user. There is a set of views that I will not be covering in this module, and this is the Oracle AWR or Automated Workload Repository views. The reason that I will not be covering these views is because the AWR functionality is a separately licensed product from Oracle. That is, you need to be licensed for the Oracle Diagnostics Pack in order to use not just the AWR tools, but also to query any of the AWR views. Now these views are interleaved with the DBA underscore views and the $$ views in your Oracle database. So any views that start with DBA underscore hist or the $$ active session history view, these are views that are part of the Oracle AWR, which I won't be covering here. Now if you do want to query these views, the best advice that I can give you is talk to your DBA team and see if you're licensed for these views and go from there. In Oracle 12c, these views are turned off by default, but in some prior versions of Oracle, they were turned on by default even if you weren't licensed. So in any case, make sure to check your licensing situation before exploring these views. Oracle does contain a capability to see if these views have been used, so if you're not licensed, this could show up on a software licensing audit, and then your company would be liable for purchasing the appropriate licenses from Oracle. So it's really best to check and make sure beforehand and stay on the right side of the licensing situation.